Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to OSA Friday for Females. I'm here with Tollisha. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm so excited to be here, Instructor Sethi. We've been trying to do this forever, and we're finally here.
Hey, we never gave up. We were persistent, and voila. So I have the lovely Tollisha finally for you guys. So we're going to jump right to it. You guys are still welcome to ask your questions, post your comments, but we will reserve our responses to the end of the interview. So we'll get started. Why did you start the official glue, and what challenges did you overcome during the process?
Oh my gosh. So I started my business out of my own frustration. I was working as a server in a restaurant, and I had been doing that for 5 years because I got pregnant with my younger son and I wanted to stay home with him. So prior to that, I was an arbitrator, and it was great, but it just wasn't flexible enough. And during my time as a server, I realized that there's a huge gap in the ability to network and social connections. This was pre-pandemic, guys, so it was bad then. And just as far as like the age, so in the my original idea for my business was to talk to high school and college age kids in transition and teach them how to become effective networkers so that they can get on the yes side of their future business. And so that's really transition because, you know, in business, your market changes. And during the pandemic, I realized that there's a need beyond the high school and college age kids. So I'm so excited to be doing what I love.
And that's awesome. And I can tell that you're so passionate about it too, you know, because when you speak about it, it's like there's a completely different energy that comes out, which is great to see because you obviously don't want to do something that you don't like because then you're going to be miserable. But then if you have that passion, then it also translates to your clients who are seeking your help. Like you're super ecstatic to help them, and then they see that energy, they hear that energy, and then they feed off of it.
So. Yes, I couldn't do anything else for my life. And really, when I started, I had to ask myself those difficult questions and say, hey, what can I do? What can Tollisha Joseph do without the support of someone else? Like, I need to make my own stamp on the world. And I realized I'm a talker. I love to talk. I love to talk. I'm a networker. I love meeting new people. And there is a huge difference between networking and connecting. I am a networker. Networking to me means connecting with someone to do something like this, which produces something for the greater good of each party. And so I'm so good at that. And I'm like, well, I don't know if there's many people who are, and I could teach them. This is not a superpower. It really is a transferable skill that I can show people how to do this and just enjoy every minute of it. So I absolutely love what I do.
That's awesome. So that leads right into our next question of like, why did you start Small Talk? Obviously, some of it is because of, you know, you love to communicate and talk with people, but what was the underlying reason?
Absolutely. So Small Talk was my pivot through the pandemic. Prior to COVID, I was contracted to do agent development for a real estate brokerage here in sunny South Florida. And the pandemic really put a strain on that business. So I had to figure out something to do to pivot. And because I was just, you know, doing my networking thing on all of my socials, I love the comment section. I was really just hiding in the comments and out reading everyone else's comments. And what I was hearing a lot was no one support small business. Small business is underlooked. Small business is this, small business is that. And I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm a small business, but I'm not like this. So I don't have that many followers. At this time, I'm like, no one really knows who I am, but if I have one, I'm good, right? I felt like
Yeah.
being a optimist and saying we need to have these conversations, because why are we feeling like this? We have to have some kind of commonality between us in small business that can bring us together as a community. So
Yeah.
small talk was a really an idea just to shed light on the small businesses in the big market and how we're creating a huge impact in this time that so I wanted to just shed light on that.
That's awesome. And I think, there were probably a lot of businesses that you highlighted that were very appreciative of that, to be able to share their passion and what they enjoy doing. Um, and, tell the world, like, this is what I do and this is why I got into it and this is why I love it. Because that's what most small businesses are about. Is like someone, they love something and then they're like, I want to go and do a business with it.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that I can say that just brings me so much joy out of that experience is that I was some people's first interview. The
Oh,
first time they
wow.
ever got to be interviewed by someone. So that's a proud moment that came out of that experience for me. Actually, I'm in transition, so I'm not doing it as often as I was, but it really does give me so much warmth in my soul to know that I gave somebody the courage to go out and show their face and show up for their business, because I was the first person they talked to about it. So it was cool.
Yeah, that's very empowering, and you're so easy to talk to that it's very simple to like talk with you. So if you're their first interview, I could only imagine how empowering it is because it would have been very fluid and very positive. So
Absolutely.
so my next question is back to your networking. Why do you think networking is important, and how does it help businesses grow? And what are some pointers that you have?
Yes. So I realized that one thing that I could do, and I'm sorry, my ear thing keeps like falling off. The one thing that really, really kept me and sustained me through my entire work history was my ability to network. And, I came from a place where I really I don't even know how to write a resume, guys. I've never had to use one, but I've
Wow.
had some amazing jobs, and they've all come from my ability to network. Like getting to know someone and them leveling me up to the next phase of my life. So it's such an important skill to know, especially if you are a business owner and you're trying to level up in your business. You have to know how to network effectively if you want to make strides in your business, if you want to do interviews with instructor Sethi, if you want to be invited to speak on stages, if you want to get a level up in your clientele base, you have to be able to network. And I'm not talking about going out there and meeting people. I'm talking about meeting valuable people and immediately understanding what their value is to you and how they're going to level you up and put you in that position to get you to the next stage of your business.
Now, sometimes I'm going to ask you this, like sometimes you have connections, right? But they don't really evolve to anything right away because you have to massage them a little more. Can you speak a little bit on that? Like, like connections that you make, but it takes time. Because some people are like, I make a connection and they want to see like action right away. And that can happen sometimes. But just like with us, to set up the interview, it took a little time because of both of our schedules. So what can you say about massaging those networks and the leads that you get through the networks?
So I think there is a value in the wait. There is value if you see value in the opportunity. So that is when it's okay to go through that process of the waiting period. I, using us as an example, I saw value in this meeting, but the timing wasn't good. We communicated that well and we figured out a way to get it done, even though it didn't happen when we originally said we wanted to. It
Yeah.
still was important enough to make sure that it happened. That's good
Yeah.
networking. We kept in good communication and we figured it out because we could see the value in this conversation and us having it together. So that's what I mean about networking. How identifying the value in the person that you are trying to network with will make that weight more valuable to you, because
Mm.
if you don't understand what value you can bring or they can bring to your life, you're going to get frustrated in the wait because you're going to think that you're waiting for no reason. Like, why am I waiting for this? But if you have a
Yeah.
purpose for the wait, the pressure, that waiting period won't phase you because you already know the purpose. And it's really important for you to identify that first.
Yeah, that's very important. And I think that's even important beyond just like for networking purposes, like when you're interacting with clients and people, like you want to value them and you want to also understand the value that they're bringing to the table and that you're bringing to the table to help you get that middle ground. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think just understanding people in general and valuing them overall is just super important. So,
Well, I mean, and here's the thing, and I might get beat up for this, but there are people in your life that don't bring value to your life. There are. We all have those people in our friendship circles, in our immediate family circles, or even our associate circles. That just, that does not mean that they're not valuable. They just are not valuable to you.
yeah.
And that is okay. So effective networking is compiling people who are valuable to you in one space. That is a network of people who are working within your net.
That's very, I like that. That's very cool. I like how you said that. If you're listening, that's a very important point right there. How do you, how do you manage your time effectively? I mean, you're a mom, you run business, you're on Clubhouse, it seems like all the time. And so it's like, what's your key to staying focused and managing it all and not letting it just go poop?
Well, one thing is I have a very, very supportive network. I do. So my network consists of my husband and one thing, I have my husband, I have my group of collaborative women that I really, really go back to when I have struggles, when I have things that I need to go through. But this is a really solid network because they're all values to my life and pushing me to elevate my business. And I need that type of support, building that type of community, building that really good network that's working for me. So it allows me to be able to do other things because I have other people outside looking for opportunities for me. So I'm not doing the searching on my behalf. I've built a great squad that searches for my opportunities. And that's when you realize you're an effective networker. When you can put your focus on something else, but that thing is still generating, it's still moving, the current is still flowing. And my husband has offered me such amazing support. My kids are 10 and 14. So we really strategized in this to say when they get to an independent age where they could do things more independently, this is when you need to start developing your business, because then you won't need to spend that nurturing attention on them to develop them. You will be an assistant and a guidance to our children. So they're very independent and they're able to manage on their own. I'm just there to keep them in line. And it's really, really helping me be able to put energy in other spaces.
That's awesome. I mean, I think like the way you've worked with your kids and then the way that you use your network and to have all of that support, that's awesome. Like, because I think that's where people struggle. Like a lot of times people are like, oh, I have to do it, because they're afraid to either delegate or network or do what they need to do to make sure they get some me time. But you're just like, hey, that's, that's my team in a way, right? And so that's why they're there to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's beyond team building, really, because just to say, because team building is one thing, but are all of your players on your team effective?
Yeah.
And when you know that your team is effective, you have the freedom to do other things. When
Yeah.
you know that you compound valuable players on your team, there is no fear about what they can do to bring value to your life. So that is why networking is such an important skill to master, because you
Yeah.
have to be able to identify this person is valuable to me, and there's no fear around what they can do to add value to my life. I'm not afraid to hand that over, because I know without a shadow of a doubt that they're valuable players, and without them, I can't manage.
Yeah, that's important. And you obviously brought that team to you and that asset to you. So therefore you feel comfortable doing it. And that's the key, right? Is to feel comfortable. But like you said, you have to know that your team has those assets and can do it. So
Yes.
who do you think is important for business owners to connect with, and why?
That's a tricky one, because each business has their own vision. And that's why in my business, it's really, I really was focused on one building, because everybody's business vision is different. And who may be valuable to me may not be valuable to you. So it's
Yeah.
really kind of understanding. And this is where my job comes into play, because we really go in and understand what your business is at its root, so that we can identify who your valuable players will be and how you need to communicate with them to get them to say yes to you, and so that you could get on the yes side of your business. Because communication is one piece of the networking puzzle. You have to
Yeah.
be able to communicate effectively in order for people to want to be a part of what you're doing and advocate for you or affiliate for what you're doing. So it's really important that you get your messaging, which is the verbalization of your vision, clear, so that other people can say, yes, I want to do it with you. Right?
And also beyond just being able to verbalize it effectively, you also want to believe in it. Like there's sometimes people who will speak it, and then there's like a little bit of an uncertainty behind, what they do, or when they say a certain aspect of what they do, there's a little bit of doubt, and people sense that. You don't necessarily have to say it like, oh, this is the stinky part, but people can sense it in your voice and in the tone of your voice. So the moment, like, your intonation goes too low or too high, it automatically shows that, oh, this person really doesn't know much about their business or cares about their business. I'll put, just like when you first started with this interview, like you were so ecstatic. I mean, and that energy, like I said, it comes out. So when you're even communicating to somebody what you do, that passion and that communication just flows because you're passionate and you believe in it.
Well, you have to be a master networker. You got to be the master of your network. Think of Pinocchio, right? And I mean, probably not the best one, but he needed a puppeteer. He needed someone to work the strings in order to make him move. And we are the puppeteers of our business. We're the puppeteers of our network. We have to master those moves to get our network working for us. And if we don't believe that we can manage the net and really effectively get it going, we can't get anything. We're not going to capture anything. Everything's going to be out. We are not going to be able to manage that net to get those fish in and get the thing moving in the direction that it needs to go. So networking is really the first pillar of building a successful business. Something not successful meaning all this money in the bank. Successful meaning joy, a joyous business, something that you can actually wake up in the morning and get excited about doing because you know that you've mastered the art of building a network that is supporting you and going out there and championing for you and advocating and wanting to do it with you.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's important. You're right. You're right on the dot. So, let's see. Who was or is your greatest inspiration?
I think at this point of my journey, my mom is my biggest inspiration. I didn't realize that until she was no longer here. So people, please cherish your parents, because when they're gone, you're going to look back and say, "Man, you taught me so much." And she has inspired all the things that you're seeing today in front of you. Everything, every fire in my soul is because of all the things that I've realized that she's instilled in me. And now I get to use those skills and tools at their optimal capacity. And I'm so excited about that.
That's awesome.
So she's my biggest inspiration.
That's amazing. Well, there you guys hear it. That's who inspires Tollisha to be who she is. This is a hard one for people. If someone writes a book about you, what would the title be?
If someone writes a book about me, I would love the title to be, and I answered this in another interview, and I'm going to change it because I think I've evolved. So this is my second book, guys.
Okay.
My second book will be kind, not nice.
Okay. So let's go to depth with that one. What are you implying there?
Because being nice is telling people the things that they want to hear. Being kind is being honest enough to tell people the truth. And I think books are legacies. They're things that leave imprints for years and years to come. And if I'm going to leave a legacy in the world, I want everyone to know that I was honest, I was kind, and I was inspiring to get people to move. So I would want a book that's titled Be Kind, Not Nice.
I like it. And, you're right. Like, a lot of times people do take the, the passive route in terms of, like, telling somebody how they feel about things versus just being, hey, this is the way it is. And, you can still be blunt without necessarily being rude. But people do need to hear when they're doing something wrong, especially if you're good friends or if it's someone in your network, because who else are they going to hear from?
Well, how are we supposed to grow if we don't know where the growth is needed?
Yeah. So that's important too. Like, you have to look at your flaws as much as your successes. So
absolutely.
So what are 5 characteristics of a good leader?
A good leader listens. A good leader doesn't consider themselves to be a leader. They consider themselves to be a team member. I think a good leader is effective. A good leader has very good delegating skills, so they're able to delegate. I also think that a good leader is kind, not nice.
Not nice. Comes full circle.
Yeah, so I think those would be my top 5. A good leader is kind, not nice. They're able to delegate. They are effective. They're great listeners, and they don't consider themselves to be the leader.
That's awesome. Yeah. So for your podcast and your social media, you have a huge following. How did you generate that, or what tips can you give to generate those kinds of following?
I think that if you are looking, I feel like, one, I want a preference. Don't worry about the following. Honestly, it's not really that important. Although we all like to know that people appreciate what we're doing. but you have to appreciate what you're doing, and you have to
Yeah.
do it because you appreciate it. And what happens is when you appreciate what you're doing and you're sharing it with others, people enjoy it. So the following is because I am confident in what I'm saying. I love what I'm doing. I'm passionate about helping others, and that spreads. That
Yeah.
spreads. So people are attracted to it and they want to know what's going on with me. I am grateful. I live in the space of gratitude. I enjoy the fact that people even want to hear what I have to say. Um, and all of that combined created this following for me, which I don't even identify it to be huge. It's like it's just my squad. They're just my people. And the beautiful thing of growth is that I can literally say I've either heard, spoken to, encountered each and every person that hit that button. I know them in some capacity. We've
Mm,
had some kind of interaction. And that's the beauty of growing organically. This is an
yeah.
organic growth. I am not interested in getting these huge numbers, not unless I've earned them all. And I want people
Yeah.
to follow me because they want to, not because I'm asking them to or trying to do things to get them to. I want you to follow me because I'm worth following.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because I got like I would keep getting these messages about like paying like X amount of money and then you get like X amount of followers and that was your response right now was kind of the same thing that hit my mind. I was like I don't want to pay for followers, like it's either they genuinely want to follow my program because they like what they see or they don't. Like it's not that I want to pay a certain amount of money just to get like numbers.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm looking for. So
Yeah, I'm
um
not a salesman.
yeah.
So, you know, I'm not a salesman. I'm in the business of offering what I have to those who need it. And how can I offer something that I bought? I can't. I can only offer what I've created. And I can give the offer to that creation of people who I've generated over this time of however long it took. But I'm able to give them offers, genuine offers, because they followed me. Something that they needed, they found in me. And now, if I could provide them with more assistance, more help, more guidance, I am obligated to offer them those things because I want to
Yeah.
help my people.
Yeah, that's great, and it's nice. It's nice to know that you actually know, or have been in touch with or interacted with all of them to some capacity. Because there's so many times where people are like, I looked at my profile and I don't know half of them, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, now you should. So
It's important to know because, think about your following is your referral pot. If
yeah,
there's some people, you ask me for some guidance and I can't give it to you, I could definitely go into my Instagram and search through my 2000 and say, who do I know that instructor Sethi could use to help her get to the next step? And I could do that with confidence because
yeah.
I actually know them.
Yeah, exactly, and it's very apparent on the Clubhouse because there's so many times where like someone will tell you like I need X, Y, and Z, and then you come back, oh, I know somebody that I can put you in touch with. Yeah, and that's the beauty of knowing who you're networking with and actually talking with people and having that network group like you're talking about. So
Absolutely. And that's step 2 of networking. The networking is the connection. So
yeah,
after you can see and you realize there's value potential there in the exchange, you start to make the connections because that's
yeah,
proof. That is the reciprocity engine. That's the start of the relationship. You need someone, you can refer. I need someone, I'll refer you. And we are continuing in that motion of exchange. The
yeah.
relationship is built on a great foundation. So you never get hurt by your network.
Nope, you can't.
You
Unless you
can't.
communicate wrong or do something crazy. So, my last question is, what piece of advice can you give new business owners or current business owners that are stagnant, about growing or starting their business?
I would say make trusted investments. Find good people to help you get out of your stuck and move into your yes. You need people in order to do business. Find two sides of your coin, because there's two sides to every coin. Find advocates. Look for people to share and tell what you're doing to their people so that they can try it for themselves. And find your affiliates. These are people who are willing to do it with you and they want to help you get out of your stuck and into your yes. So find people to do this journey with. You are not meant to do it alone.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you. This was so enlightening, so much fun, and I really appreciate you coming on, Tollisha. If anyone else wants to be part of Friday for Females, please send me a message. And everyone
Absolutely.
else, thank you. Everyone else, have a great weekend. We will talk to you soon.
Bye. Thank you, Sethi.
Bye.